Hello family and friends, it's Kim here from Hancock Homesteading Gardens, and today I am with my brother Stephen, and we are on his front porch in his 100-year-old home. And I asked him to sit down and do this interview with me because you guys know that I talk about my brother Stephen a lot and how he's a Baptist minister or a Baptist director of missions now, and all his wonderful trips that he goes on. And so I just wanted to share him with you, with my viewers. So yeah, so this is Stephen Straus.
Hello. I'm the baby brother.
He is the baby brother.
But I'm the tallest.
Yes, that's true. We have two older brothers, and then I'm like the middle child, but we come from two different families because it was like my two older brothers, and then I was the baby. But then my two older brothers moved out of the home, so then I became the oldest child, and then my parents had my sister, and she's 2 years younger than I am. And then lo and behold, down the road, they had my baby brother. I'm 8 years older.
The charming of the family.
Yes, I'm 8 years older than you.
I think so. I always have to do the math.
Yes, and Jody's 6 years older than you.
Because that's where I have to start. Jody's
yes.
6 years older, and then we go from.
Yeah.
So Jody's my I call her my little middle sister.
Yes.
She's smaller than all of us.
Yeah.
Jody got the small genes.
Yeah. Straus in German means
yes.
What? Bush.
Means bush. Yes.
Bush. And we are from German descent. Our mother's name was Stiefermann, and then our father's name was Straus, and so we are of German descent. If you wonder where the jaw lines come from, it's from our dad.
And the stubbornness comes from the German stubbornness. Now,
so,
Jody reminds me, we had a small infiltration of Irish. I say we're German on all 8 sides, and she said, oh, but there was an Irish woman. Kate Stiefermann was Kate was actually an Irish woman, and they say that the temperament fit.
Yeah.
I never knew my grandma Kate. My sisters did.
That might be where my grandson gets his red hair. Anyway, okay, so I'm going to ask Steve some questions, and then we'll go from there. So, okay, well, Steve, I've told everyone that you're a Baptist minister and a Baptist director of missions,
Mm-hmm.
okay? Could you tell my friends how you got your calling?
Well, growing up, we were very active in the Catholic Church, and that really planted seeds of faith and faith understanding, though even as a child I didn't know what it meant.
Yeah, I'm going to stop right there for just a second. And the reason is because I have had people ask me, how is it that you are Catholic? Because if you watch my channel enough, you will know that I am fully Catholic. We have the Virgin Mary sitting in my garden. We go to a Catholic school. My children, or Catholic church, my children went to a Catholic school. So we are very much Catholic. Whereas my brother is a Baptist minister. And then our sister is
Episcopalian.
And so I've had people say, how did you guys all end up on these different faith journeys? So now I'm going to let Steve continue.
Okay, so we grew up with Catholic faith, and I respect that. And it gave me a sense of reverence and of worship and all of that. Though as a young child, I didn't really understand what it all meant, but I thought it was neat. And then when I was in 5th grade, whatever age that would be, I never know ages of kids, I just know grade stuff. So when I was in 5th grade, our parents divorced. I love them to death, but 26 years. So anyway, my mother and our sister Jody and I, we moved to another town. Kim was already in college.
Yes.
And so we moved, and basically, long story short, is I kind of met a kid down the street, and his parents were very active in church. Happened to be a Baptist church, Southern Baptist Church, and so they invited me to church, and that's kind of where my personal faith journey began, of really an understanding of things like that. And so that's just how that journey began. Well,
I have told people, because there's such a wide age difference, I kind of forgot about those few years, that you started out the Centertown Baptist Church. So tell them how you got back to Centertown.
Oh, well, we were living in Jefferson City, and I began going to church there on my own with friends. And then when Mom remarried and we moved back to the countryside outside of Centertown, or the town we'd grown up in.
Yeah, Centertown's where we grew up.
That's where I then began reattending Centertown Baptist Church. That actually, as little kids, we would go to Bible school and all of that.
Right. Yeah, when we were younger, as a family, before my parents divorced, my mom used to send all 3 of us kids up to the local Centertown Baptist Church for Vacation Bible School. Our mother always had the belief that it didn't really matter which religion you celebrated because they all celebrated the same God. They just did it in different ways. And so she would allow us to attend the Baptist Vacation Bible School, which we just loved. But yeah, then when Steve came back to Centertown, what year was that? Freshman, did you say?
I was in the end of my 8th grade year.
And then
began attending there.
So during high school, you started attending the Centertown Baptist Church then. And is that where you were ordained?
Well, went through the years, surrendered the call of ministry, went to college, and at the end of my college year, how we do it in our system is I began ministering and pastoring at a little country church outside of Centertown, and that's then when my ordination was requested, and so I was pastoring a little church, but I requested my ordination to be at Centertown Baptist Church. So I was 20 when that happened, and
I was
I'm sorry, I was 21 when that happened, and so I was a senior in college.
I was there, and it was just a wonderful ceremony. We were all so proud of him. So, so then after you were ordained, you said that you pastored at a small church. What was that? Your first church then?
Yeah, and I was already. Yeah, how we do it. So I was already serving there early on in that ministry. Then you're ordained.
And
so
how'd you end up at Clarksville?
It was Clarksburg Baptist Church, Oakland Baptist Church.
Okay.
Sorry, Oakland Baptist Church, Clarksburg, Missouri.
Okay.
And I was actually in college and went there to do some weekend missions, and they kept me.
Oh yeah.
And they actually kept me for 7 years. And so my first year that I was still in college, and then I would commute. And then I began my master's work in Kansas City, and I would commute down. And then even after I finished my master's, I remained there.
It's a beautiful little country church.
I was there for 7 years.
Yeah, wow, 7 years. Okay, and then we know that you moved from being a Baptist minister into director of missions. Mm-hmm. Which can you explain to some of my Catholic friends maybe what director of missions means? Mm-hmm. Okay.
Let me fast forward though. From Clarksburg, I went to a town called Conway, Missouri, which is actually in this same county that I live in now. And so it was just actually maybe 10 minutes from where I am sitting right now, and it was a community there. And I was there for about 9.5 years as a senior pastor of that congregation. We ran about 140 people there. But
it was a beautiful church. I remember that.
Kim referred to the role of director of missions. I say this in full respect, but it's probably the easiest way to describe it. Jody describes it as this: I'm kind of like a Baptist bishop, but without the authority. So we're set up in what some may know as a diocese, or some may know it as a district or a charge, depending on your faith group. So we're set up in associations. And so I have 28 churches that I serve and work with. We do ministry programming. I do leadership equipping. I do church mentoring. Unfortunately, sometimes I do conflict resolution. I'm in charge of all of our camp ministries, any mission endeavors, local, national, any of that. I teach classes for pastors and stuff like that.
Being from the teacher background, I always refer to it as like a superintendent of schools, except he's like a superintendent of churches. Yeah. But he says he has no power, but I think he has a good calling there.
Each church is autonomous. Yeah. I can't tell a church what they can or can't do. I can be an advisor, I can be an encourager, I can give pretty strong hints if I know something's coming down the pipe. But each church is its own entity.
Okay, so as director of missions, you talked about some of your local work, but I've also told them that you've taken many mission trips. Mm-hmm. How many, do you know approximately how many mission trips you have been on?
International trips, I did a count this summer. I think I'm around 24, 25, 26 international trips.
And can you tell us some of those countries?
Oh, wow, yeah. I'll just kind of start close and go out, because I picture a map in my head. So, of course, maybe not so much wow, but neat. I did Indian work in the Indian reservations of Canada, so Ontario, Canada, Mexico, southern Mexico, 4 go-arounds, 4 mission trips there, 5 mission trips there, El Salvador, so that's kind of this corridor. Then going across the pond, Germany, I've been to Belarus twice, Russia twice, coming down into the South Asia area. I've been to India 6 times, Nepal, Thailand. I did a study. I did a 2-week study program in Israel. That was awesome. I think that's all that I can remember.
So that's why whenever I say, this is a Christmas ornament that my brother brought back from one of his mission trips, I have to stop and think, okay, which one?
Yeah.
So you've been to the north of us to Canada, and then you've been to the south of us to Mexico.
And El Salvador.
And El Salvador.
Mm-hmm.
And then you went on across the ocean over to the Europe and Russia. I have a friend in Russia that I want to say hello to right now. Hello, Samantha Cat.
Privyet.
Yep, this goes out to you. Okay, well, of all your ministry, whether it be here local or foreign, do you have a favorite story or a favorite memory?
Well, probably just one of those wow. Some of it is just those wow moments. I mean, not necessarily individualized, but I mean, when you're hiking in the Himalayan mountains doing ministry in the villages, that's pretty cool. When you realize that you're in the Himalayas, doing work in India, you see something like the Taj Mahal. Been there 3 or 4 times, and you're just like, wow, the creation that man has done.
I should share something with my friends right now. My brother is an excellent photographer. I think I've talked about that before. So anytime he goes on these mission trips, he's always got his camera. And we sisters, and I'm sure his church family probably feels the same way, we feel like we're right there on the trip with him. He's done some beautiful pictures in Mexico. The color in Mexico is just wonderful.
The Latino people are so awesome. If you're Latino, hola, and you're some of the most fun people. And the color and the culture. I have to say, of people groups, I guess even though we're German, I love Russia. The Russian Eastern Europe people are just amazing. I love your culture. But I'll tell you what, the Latino people in South Mexico and El Salvador, Central America area are just, I love that people group so much.
I guess one thing I always find interesting is that I look at your Mexico pictures, and they're very beautiful and yet simple.
Mm-hmm.
And then you go to India,
mm-hmm.
and you show us the grandeur of the Taj Mahal.
Mm-hmm.
So you've seen a whole realm. Of
and each culture has its different. Each culture has its different colorings. The people of India like very bright blues, purples, oranges, reds, and then a lot of times in the Central America, I don't mean any of this to sound stereotypical, so no. But anyway, generally in the Latino, South American culture, they see a lot of yellows and bright greens and bright oranges and very celebrative colors.
Okay, we just have a couple more minutes left, so I just want to very quickly ask you, you have another calling, and that's your photography.
Don't know if I'd call it a calling, but it's a hobby.
Okay, a hobby. He uses it in his ministry, though. You have to admit that.
Yep.
And he did the photo verse calendar. You're always sharing pictures of your mission trips. How did your photography come about? And you have 1 minute.
Okay. When we were kids, we always went somewhere. I loved to travel. Dad always had us out doing something. I was always the kid with the camera taking 100 pictures, and you never knew you were going to get.
Yeah, back in those days, you had to film.
Then a few years ago, I went through a season of life change, and so I just kind of took some time off and began taking friends with me and just had a little point and shoot, and while they're spending an hour taking a picture of the waterfall, I'm over climbing the waterfall because I've already taken my picture. I did start developing an eye. People always said, hey, you have an eye, you're able to compose a picture. I don't understand any of the technical side of things. I still don't understand shutter speeds and apertures, but I can see a picture. And even driving down the road, I can see a picture. And so I just began fine-tuning that. It's not a calling. It's not a career. I always wanted to be a hobby. And so I just enjoy doing that.
Yeah. Well, you have an excellent eye, as they say.
So it's been about a 2.5-year journey.
All right. Well, I hope you enjoyed this interview. I know I have. And this is Kim and Stephen. I'm from Hancock Homesteading Gardens. And he is from what I call Straus Bed and Breakfast here in Lebanon, Missouri.
I feed her under the door.
So anyway, if you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. If you want to know more about my homestead and what we do on it, please subscribe. This is Kim. Talk to you later.
Bye for now.